Congressional correspondent David Drugger. David, good to have you with us and good to see you again. Conservative strategist Lisa Booth. Good to have you here, Lisa. Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She has a common history for conservatives and Republicans. What do you think? The difference between a conservative and a socialist, the head of the DNC couldn't address.
Well, look, she gives us no shortage of information and political fodder, right? Because she continues to make these ridiculous misstatements. I mean, we saw this with Governor Scott Walker as well, when she said that Governor Scott Walker gives women the back of the hand. Right. But look, I think the reason why she can't
had to retract it. Well,
and she did, and then I think she went and repeated the comment. So, right, she continues to misspeak. But I think in this instance, it's because she can't differentiate between a Democrat and a socialist. I mean, look at Bernie Sanders, who is gaining traction in states like Iowa and New Hampshire.
What's wrong with Bernie Sanders, David? I mean, he's number 2 in the polling at this point, running a strong second, unexpectedly strong second to Hillary Clinton. It seems like he would be someone that the leaders of the Democratic Party would embrace.
Well, look, if he wasn't running against Hillary Clinton, they probably would embrace him. And I think, Lou, what this is indicative of is the fact that much the way people in my business like to talk about how the Republican Party has been captured by the right, the Democratic Party has been captured by its left. And there's a really strong strain of progressivism, of liberalism, teetering on socialism that is running through the Democratic Party right now. So if I'm Debbie Wasserman Schultz, why would I want to alienate possibly a good portion of my base voters by saying that we're not socialists, when right now it's hard to separate the modern Democratic Party on many issues, not all, but many, from what we have thought of for many years as socialism. You know,
and Fox News out with its latest polls tonight, Donald Trump, this is the guy that the head of the RNC, Reince Priebus, said, tone it down. And he's got an 11-point lead over Jeb Bush in these latest polls, the Fox polls. Lisa, what do you make of it? At some point, do you think the establishment Republican Party, this guy is a billionaire, so he does have some qualifications to claim establishmenthood. Is there some point at which the Republican leadership will have the sense to say, we're going to treat you nice, we're going to work with you just like we do every other candidate?
Well, I don't think tone it down is a phrase that Donald Trump understands. I don't think that's in his vocabulary here. But
I got to tell you, I don't think it's in anyone else's, because if RNC is telling candidates to tone it down, you know, I'm not sure that these are the guys you really want around. Well, and they're taking orders from the RNC.
Well, look, I don't blame him to want to push back on that. And look, I think Donald Trump has obviously tapped into this dissatisfaction with voters, right? 60% of Americans believe that the country is on the wrong track. And I think specifically, if you look at Republicans, there's this real frustration with this undermining of the rule of law that we've seen from President Obama, most specifically on his most recent executive action on immigration. And so I think that Donald Trump has been able to kind of tap in there, especially on the immigration front, and that's getting him some traction.
You know, Lisa, I think you're right. And David, we're looking at a 16% approval rating for Congress. That's about as establishment as it gets. The country is absolutely infuriated by Obama policies and absolutely disdainful of Congress. Where should these candidates play it Thursday night?
Well, look, there are two ways I think you want to play it. For both the short run and the long run, there's nothing wrong with hitting at Washington and basically saying that this town should be swallowed up into the sea, never to return. Because voters are that frustrated. But if you want to win a general election against most likely Hillary Clinton, you have to think about expanding the map, reaching out beyond traditional Republican voters. And one of the areas in which some of the candidates, particularly the latest front runner, has fallen short is in going after Hispanics and others with insensitive comments. It's not that he's for more border security. It's not that he's against amnesty, although he once was for amnesty. It's the manner in which he has spoken. And, Lou, it's no different than you having a show. Yeah. There's certain language you can't use on the show, no matter how much truth-telling you're engaged in. It's the same for a presidential candidate.
Now, I think you're missing something here, David. And that is that if he had apologized when he made his remarks about McCain, instead of clarifying, If he had apologized, he'd be apologizing every night ever after. He is a truth teller as he understands the truth, and he is saying the hell with the idea of politically correct channels out of which you don't travel. You know, he's made a lot of money traveling in his own channel, and I think he's making a lot of headway by being plain spoken. Don't you really?
I do agree with that. My issue as an analyst is to point out it's not going to win the general election for the Republican Party or anybody else.
Yeah.
It may win the primary, although I don't think it will.
I think these
won't win the
debates will
presidency.
be telling too. I think the debates will be telling.
And you know what I think we're being told is we're just about out of time. David, good day.